brand? Are you starting a
Yeah.
collection?
I got them. Well, one actually is from my mom got it, the president one. And the others I have been receiving them as gifts, and then I love them so much, so I decided today I will let them join. You have a cold?
Oh God, I was so sick yesterday. I've been traveling for 2 weeks and I think I picked up a bug and I woke up in the morning, I had a sore throat, I was shivering and I was just in bed all day. I must have slept about 18 hours. It was insane. But today I feel better, but I'm still a bit like that.
See,
And
no,
it didn't look great. So makeup was an amazing, an
yeah,
amazing
I
thing.
had to use a lot of makeup for the same reason. Like, I was in bed like yesterday with a mild fever, and I said I only had like my lashes painted, like when I thought we were meeting at 3, and my mom looked at me and said like, now you have a opportunity to do better. Like I was like, I see, so I went and
I love it. You've got an opportunity to do better. Put some more makeup on, darling. Thank you so much for coming back on again. It's really nice to see you after you did the creative session for Access Tribe. So it's nice to have you back, and it feels like you've been doing a ton since then. Because I know that you've been working with Panties for Bitcoin, but then you're also working with the Bitcoin Diaries as well, whose founder I interviewed the other week. So that's very cool. And I don't know if you were organizing the Santorini halving or just doing publicity for it, but it sounds like you were involved in that as well.
yeah. Part of my job with the Love is Bitcoin is actually I start talking with new people, and through them I got to know Jen, and I just thought her brand ideas were super nice, and she was super friendly, and I loved her style, and I love this idea of a woman making designs for other ladies. And we started talking, and then the team like also saw this, and saw the potential and the talent, and they started like we started to work together, and she's part of the team now. Like we love her, and it's been great, and she's so open, and it's someone that you can tell her off openly like, hey, maybe you can adjust this, and she doesn't take it personal. It's like super professional, so it's been very cool. And about the Santorini halving party, I worked in, yeah, more in the marketing side of it, because I live in Latin America, so I wasn't able to make it there. It was a bit difficult, but everything turned out so great, and I'm very proud of the team, and the event they made it. It was something really special. Hmm.
Yeah, very cool. It looked amazing. All the halving parties looked amazing, actually. And I thought the halving was going to happen tomorrow, but it looks like it's going to happen today. So I was a little bit sad about that. I was hoping it was going to be tomorrow for a number of reasons. But I think we've only got, how many have we got? I was looking at the mempool earlier and there's only 21 blocks to go. Well, it's probably 20 now. So yeah, I think it's today's going to be the day, which is interesting. So we're recording this on what will probably be halving day. So I guess, well, sorry, we're just going straight into chatting, but maybe do you want to introduce yourself so people know who you are?
Yeah, sure. I'm Flo Montoya. I do Bitcoin art. I'm an artist. I work in marketing. I work for Lavis Bitcoin. I also work for Panties for Bitcoin. It's been very cool, and I've got to learn so much. I got to grow so much. Last time we were talking and doing this content creation thing, I was so much more nervous. I was so self-conscious about talking in English, and now through my jobs, I have got to like practice this so much, and I'm feeling more confident, and that's making me very happy. And yeah, I'm just trying to get actually my art shown around. Like everything, like the main purpose was that, like I want people to get to see my art, but now I'm learning so much more about other stuff that it's yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, so just for context for people who don't know, I found you through Love is Bitcoin because I was following the account. And then I think I messaged the account and I said, who runs this account, and would you be interested in doing a workshop for a bunch of female founders who run Bitcoin companies to teach them about content creation? And so you very kindly responded and said you would do the workshop, and that was how we met. So you did the online workshop for us, and you're obviously doing all of your own stuff as well with Love is Bitcoin and your art. Can you just tell people what Love is Bitcoin is for those that don't know and don't follow the Twitter account?
Sure. Well, it's you have to picture it as a magazine. That's the whole concept. So it's more than just a character. We do have a character. I give life to Libby, but now we are like opening it a bit more. Like we have minor Libby, and that's done by another girl. We have like Greek Livy, or we're playing with the concept because we are all Livy. She's like Satoshi. And what we do is we actually make advertisement and publicity for Bitcoiner brands. And we try to get them people to know and learn about all these amazing companies building and working in the Bitcoin ecosystem. We also have like a writer's room, so people writing articles and you can sub them directly. Yeah, we try to be on everything. And main part of it's just creating community, trying to be playful and silly and not so serious and just having a good time.
Yeah, amazing. Sorry, I lost you a little bit there because the line dropped a bit, but I got the gist of it. Can you give some background then on what you were doing before Love is Bitcoin? So you're an artist, but is that what you've done full time your whole life?
Yeah, I actually studied arts in a classical academy first for like 3 years. Then I studied arts in the university here in Chile. So I'm trying through time. I don't know. I kind of got these both schools in my head, like in peace. Like I take what I like from this one and what I like from this other one, because sometimes they don't really agree. And now I really love like developing the technique and working with materials. I work with my hands. And through the university school, I got this more of the idea that you have to be very aware of the concept that everything can have a meaning and that you can play with more than just what you're drawing. For example, I'm representing an image, but what am I representing it with? Why did I choose this material instead of this other material? Sometimes you can play with those elements too, and it enriches your piece. Mm-hmm.
It's actually amazing the range of content creation that you have because you go from like very serious pieces of like what I describe as fine art, and then you've got like this whole career doing memes, which is quite incredible. Um,
Yeah,
so
no,
it's
but
just
with the memes, I gotta say that, sorry, I get a lot of help with the memes. Like, I do make a lot of memes, and I think I'm learning and making them better. But the team is amazing. Like I have to say, because I cannot take the whole credit for that. No.
they're just really funny. There was something you posted the other day, and I can't remember what it was, but you were like, "Do you remember when blah blah blah?" Libby remembers. It was just the tone of it was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "Oh, this is so good, so good." Where do you sell your fine art then? Because you've got the website where you sell stuff, but are you showing in any galleries? Like, do you sell it at Bitcoin conferences? Like, where can people actually
Yeah.
find it?
Um, well, people in like general, people contact me directly, and I can show them what I have available. But the main like I make series of screen prints, so for those I have more originals. But drawings or stuff like that, I only make one. So I try to move that into a Bitcoin conference or a place where people can look at it live, because I really enjoy that experience of like someone watching it and then talking, and yeah. And then I try to auction it in that place or sell it in that place. I find that really really fun, because then it's people who they came in there, they didn't know they were going to buy art, and then they enjoyed it so much they wanted it, and so they get it, And I find that I'm gonna be next time in Calgary in July. And so I'll be presenting a new series of screen prints if everything goes well. And I hope to have more original pieces there too.
So are you doing actually so you're doing a show really at the Calgary. So for people who don't know, Calgary has its own Bitcoin conference, which is done at the same time as the Stampede, which is the world famous rodeo. And the Calgary Bitcoin conference is called the Bitcoin Rodeo. It's a very cool event, and you're coming up to Calgary for that event. And are you going to be showing, is there going to be an art exhibit then with your artwork at the conference?
Yeah, I don't really know how that it's going to be, like if it's in the same place or if it's like in this. I've learned that they make this kind of a bazaar
Hmm.
or stuff I really really don't know yet, but I was told there was going to be a place for art, and I'm really excited because I'll be in one of the panels about like Bitcoin and art and culture and fiat and all of those things that really it's for me is really really interesting. And I don't know what can I say or what can I not say about that, but I'll be there and I think it's going to be super fun.
That's right. Just share everything. Tell us everything.
I'll ask for forgiveness later.
All the secrets of what's going to happen. Oh, that'd be really cool. I'm
No.
guessing you'll be on a panel with Maddox then because he's speaking as well. So I imagine if it's an artist one, that'll be at least the both of you. That's amazing. Wow, that's very cool. Very, very cool. Wow. Well, that'd be fun. What other conferences are you doing then? So you've done a whole bunch recently, but like what's up on the horizon? So you'll be up in
Yeah,
Calgary showing
I
your art.
was
Where else?
in yeah, I was in Bitcoin Atlantis and that was very, very special. I really enjoyed it, and I it's a very cool place because I think it's like when you can notice when people are doing a conference in a place because it's like a big place, like a big city or something like that, or when they're building it because they want something to be done on that place, like they are working there every other month. They're building communities, they're onboarding shops or whatever. And I felt that at Bitcoin Atlantis, like they're trying to make something bigger. And yeah, it was very, very beautiful. The art had a like you couldn't go through this conference without going through the art. It was in the main the only entrance. So you entered the conference through the art gallery and then probably to the book corner. So it was super centered in culture. And then into you went into like, for example, eating places or like chill places, and then there were the stages and everything else. So it was like super welcoming, very nice for artists. I think it was great. It was like we were very happy and blessed to have that place in the conference, so inviting, because sometimes people feel like, no, I don't know anything about art, so I won't go watch. And it's the opposite. We want to talk to everyone. Like if this I mean, if we wanted to only talk to people who know about art, then we will be showing our art in like classic art galleries. But we are choosing to put it into the place where we talk about Bitcoin because we want to talk about Bitcoin. So it was very, very cool, and I had like an amazing experience, and I'm very thankful of everyone who organized that. Mhm.
That's amazing. Would you go back to Madeira then, do you think?
I would love to, but I don't know. I can never promise because living in Chile makes it very hard to travel. Um, yeah, I'm trying, but every conference I've been, I have only been once. I haven't been to that many, and I'm always like, oh, I would go back. But then you start talking to someone new, and for example, now instead of going to an old conference, I'm going to go to Bitcoin Rodeo. So it's really hard to make the decision because I can't go to that many a year. I would love to go to every conference, but I have to work my sponsoring deal now. I don't know. I have to see how to make that happen. But yeah, it's very. I really recommend it. Mhm.
What do you mean by it's difficult living in Chile to travel? Is it a visa issue?
No, it's really expensive right now. It's
Oh,
like being super far away, super like you cannot get a flight ticket lower than, I don't know, more than $1,000. And for me, it's just too much to make a lot of trips a year. And it used to not be like that. Like you could be like searching and you could find more better deals, but now everything is getting like super expensive here. Inflation, I don't know.
yeah. Well, yeah. Are you going to do Nashville, do you think?
I'm working for a piece for Nashville, but I don't know if I'll make it personally. But
Oh,
yeah, I'm working in a collaboration with I don't know if you know Daniel from Polymer Beat, amazing guy, super nice, and we are working on something that I'm very proud of, and I hope I just want it to be displayed, like we are just in the middle of the process of working, and this is really hard because he lives all the other way around the world, and we are doing physical art. So he has to do his side, then ship it to me, then I do my part, then I ship it again to him. Like it's super crazy. We're playing with the borderless here effect, like see, very cool. But
is that not quite
um,
expensive to do the shipping every time?
yeah, but art is not logic.
I'm
We're
going to
just
call the podcast episode that art is not logic.
yeah. But I'm
Oh,
happy, and well, if everything goes as planned, we'll be displaying that piece in Nashville, and he
wow.
will be there. So I'm trying to go too, but he'll be there. So yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I hope you make it to Nashville. That'd be really nice. I'm planning on being there, so it'd be really great if you were there. Because, well, actually, we'll meet in Calgary, so we'll meet before. But yeah, it'd be nice if you were able to make it down. Can you tell me a bit about Libby then, the creation of Libby? Because I know the story, but people listening might not know the story of Libby. So can you
I
talk
mean,
about that, like when you joined Love is Bitcoin, how Libby came to
yeah.
exist? Libby
So
knows.
so Livy is actually bigger than me. Livy, the character of Livy has been managed by I think other two girls before me. But they weren't they didn't want to put like their faces, they didn't want to be public. And once I was like interviewed by George, he said like, would you be willing to be public? And I said like, yeah, I have to practice those skills anyways. Like I saw it as an opportunity actually. It was very weird. It was like, oh, how am I going to do this? Like very weird feeling. But and Livy has her own personality. Livy is super different from me. Livy is like and she doesn't care about anything, and I'm not like that. um, I don't post much pictures of myself in my own social media, and Livy's all day like taking selfies. It's super crazy. So yeah, like people, my family sometimes make fun of me, like, who am I talking to now, Livy or Flo? Because it's like a whole other person. And yeah, well, and then I agreed, and I started very slowly posting. Like at first it was like I remember I made every picture a lot of like blurry, and I was like a bit, I don't know, self-conscious about it. And then I started losing it, and now I'm like speaking in English, making videos, like who cares? Like learning from this character to be more like chilled maybe. So it's been a very weird but very fun experience.
It's your alter ego.
It's crazy.
So what happens when you retire from doing Libby and somebody else picks up? Because now that you're the face of Libby, like what happens, or does a new character get created?
Yeah, I don't know. No, but I think people will embrace it because we want Livy to keep alive, and we want Livy to be always happy, always young, always, I don't know, she has some characteristic that's I don't know. At some point, I won't be able to be Livy anymore, maybe, because of life. And I think even though you get used to one face, we also are like I said, we're playing. But Livy is like Barbie in a way. Like you have Dr. Barbie, you have, and everyone is Barbie, like in the movie. So it's kind of that. Like maybe I'm the Livy that started, but I will not be the only Livy. And even if I'm here like a lot, more years or something, there will be more Livys. Like we are playing with that idea because we want Livy to be more of like Satoshi in a way. Like everyone is Livy except for Craig Wright.
God, can you imagine Craig Wright as Libby? I can't imagine anything worse, actually.
I hope
Oh
he
my
doesn't
God.
sue me because of this.
Yeah, she said that I wasn't Libby. That would be the most ridiculous lawsuit on the face of the earth. Hilarious. Um, so what are your plans for your next pieces of art then? You're working on this amazing one with your friend where you're doing this crazy back and forth, sending
Yeah.
physical piece of art back and forth. I've never heard of anyone doing that, by the way. That's completely nuts. Um, but other than that, like what other pieces do you do? Are they all Bitcoin focused? And like what other
Yeah.
stuff are you working on? What are your inspirations at the moment?
Yeah, they are all Bitcoin focused. I'm I'm very obsessed, and I think it's like I think I will get to a point where I will want to do something else, but I cannot see it right now. Like I know at someday will come, but now it's like every idea I have is Bitcoin related, super obsessive. And what I'm working now I'm working on a new screen print series, and this will be a free Assange series. I did a free Ross one, so there'll be like twins, and this project is not to profit from. Like I will donate to the free Assange organization. I take the costs, and then like I donate everything. Like I don't care. And I'm super excited about that one because I'm learning. I had to learn screen printing to do the Ross one, and now I'm learning like a new technique into the screen printing. So it's amazing. And I don't know how it's called in English, but it's like you pick like the four colors, like black, yellow, kind of blue, and like kind of red, and then you take the image and you like make it into small dots, and by putting those tiny dots together you see the color. Um, so it's great. And I'm
Wow.
planning. Yeah, I hope it works. Like we have been working, like preparing everything, the materials, the picture. But up to the moment where you like print, you don't know what is going to come out of this. This is so weird because I'm more used to drawing. So when you're drawing, you're like always seeing the result and you can make the changes and you like adapt or whatever. But this is more like a surprise. So it's a very different process of creation. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. How did you end up finding out about Bitcoin, by the way? Like, what's your orange pill story?
It's super weird. Like the first time I remember listening about Bitcoin was when I was studying arts in the classical art school, and I had a friend there who was studying as well, and he was like, "Oh, have you heard about this Bitcoin thing? Bitcoin was like about $100 per coin," and we were like, "You are so crazy. This place is full of crazy people. Like we are all super crazy, but you're the craziest." And nobody listened to him, and he was like, I mean, maybe the teacher bought a little, and then it went down, and he was like looking at it every day, suffering. And I had this idea of this thing that is not real and it's in the air. And I forgot about. I remember talking with my family, and then I forgot about it. I was living with with my parents, and then it was fast forward until like 2016 or 17, and my dad actually was actually like looking into this Bitcoin thing, and he made a try because he works for a foreign company, so he always got paid in euros and had to move the money back here. So in process, you had to pay the banks, you have to wait time, like it's not very cool. So he decided to try Bitcoin. Like I'll buy Bitcoin here and sell it back home and see how this thing works. and that was so much faster. You didn't have to deal with the bank dudes. He actually got himself like a 10% raise just by changing this channel. And I
Wow.
remember he waited a bit till then we were talking and all. Well, we had like a short shitcoining phase at that moment. Like, yeah, but Bitcoin is so old. This new technology will win and blah blah blah. And he was like looking and he's saying, no, I think Bitcoin is like the real deal, but we are gonna wait to see what happens with this block size thing. So it was at the moment of the block size war. And once that thing like was like settled, he said like, okay, I think we can like trust and build on this thing. And it was like family movement. So I think I was orange pilled by my dad actually, and then like my brother, and then everything.
That's incredible. I mean, it's incredible because it's also quite in a way, a slightly like boring way that he came into it. It was just a very pragmatic reason to need to use Bitcoin. You know, it's not some kind of ideological thing or
Yeah,
whatever. It's like, it's expensive for me to move money. This is a better system. I'm going to test it. It's a better system. I'm going to use it. You know, it's crazy that it was actually so, well, practical, really, not sort of
yeah.
ideological in any way. Wow, that's amazing. What year was it then that you think you got fully into it?
Me? I mean,
Mm.
I started like I was very good at saving and working because since I wanted to be an artist from a young age, I was always told that I would like die of starvation. So I was like, no, no way, I'm gonna start working. I'm gonna start saving. So I like used it as a savings thing, and but didn't think much about it. Like, "Ah, I'm never gonna understand this. This is technology. I'm an artist, blah blah blah." And like I'm very bad with technology actually. Like I feel like computers hate me. Like I don't know how this one has not died yet. Like they all die.
Don't jinx
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no. And so um, later on, it was 2020. I was finally finished with my uni stuff. Like I had the last big exam and everything. And I was like, I finally can be an artist. And I was like, oh my God, what do artists do in real life? Like, and then pandemic hit. It was like super weird timing. And I got to be like in like closed doors. And I said like, well, artists do art. I'm gonna do art. And I was like, about what? Super weird feeling, and I just started drawing the address like of the sequence of characters. And I remember I just put them on a paper, and then I start putting like a bit darker and lighter, and then I realized I could use that to create contrast. This was, I think the idea actually was in my head because I saw my dad like at the moment when he was moving the salary for us to live every month. He used to always like he taught me that you should always use a new address, and he had like a tiny notebook with full of addresses, and he wrote one and then a line, and it was a notebook only for that. And I remember seeing it and thinking that was so beautiful. And it was like that in my head, mixing up with, okay, I'm gonna try to really understand this. And I think the only way I can understand things is by like drawing about it, like doodling. And well, my family were like, okay, do the work, read the books. We have explained a lot like in the past years. So I started reading the books, and that's like the moment where it became an obsession. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. I didn't realize that you had just graduated when the pandemic started. Wow. So you've had like your career has
No, no.
basically been
Mm.
post-pandemic. Wow.
The thing is, I took a lot of to like I took longer to study than people regularly do because I did this 3 years before in this school that was after school, and then after that I did the uni that here is very it's like 4 years or something like that, and then I took 1 year at least, yeah, 1 year I think, to do my like this final work you have to do like present. And so yeah, it wasn't uh well, yeah, I don't know. I took a lot of time.
So what you're trying to say is you're older than you look.
No,
We'll find
like
out what
I
Libby's real age
don't
is today.
but
So I'm quite jealous actually because I'm guessing your family conversations must be pretty awesome then when you sit around the dinner table. I mean, does everybody happily talk about Bitcoin?
yeah, it's very crazy. Like we talk about many things. Well, maybe now we are talking about other stuff as well, but I remember back then, um like in those moments when you are like just orange pilled and you want to convince everyone and blah blah, and that it's like coming out of you. And we were 5 people in that situation, so you can imagine. And we used to have like dinner almost every day together, like if someone skipped one dinner. But usually we were used to sit in the table, like eat together. So yeah, you can imagine those dinners were very crazy. But it helped me so much because for one side, I kind of started losing this fear, like I'm not going to understand this. Like, why not? Like those are fears you are putting into yourself. And also, like, it's great to see everyone's perspective. Like my brother, for example, is a computer engineer, so he's of course was more focused on the code and blah, 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 the I don't know, technology, and then all these layers on top. And when I started to be more obsessed about it, for me it was more of like, how is this going to shape our society? Like, this is too big, this is going to impact us in so many ways. We are changing the base layer on what everything stands on top. So I'm still trying to think about that, to figure that out. And then I started to think like, wow, fiat really ruined everything. Like, you get to the other side, like, this is I don't know, you face something, you say, why is this like this? Like when you have like a normal problem, and then you start thinking about it, and most of the time it's like fiat, yeah, ruining everything.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy actually when you I know it's that sort of thing of like Bitcoin fixes this, but it's true when you look at all of these sorry, these societal problems. And then you realize when you really take it back to first principles, fiat's always at the root of it. So it's quite mad actually how that ends up being a thing. That's crazy though. I just can't imagine your family dinners. What does your brother think about your career as a Bitcoin artist then? And what do your parents
Well,
think?
no, they are super supportive. They are. The first time I went to a Bitcoin conference to show my art was in Bitcoin Miami 2022. So I took me 2 years from when I started doing the Bitcoin art to when I actually got to like showcase something. And it was the first time I showed anything, because the only time before that was in my presentation for this final exam, which is not a real thing. It was like one day there, and then took it everything down very fast to clear the room. So it was a big deal for me. And he actually came with me, my brother, and helped me to set up everything up. And I remember my sister and her husband, they were traveling somewhere else. They had this trip like arranged, and they said like, maybe we can join you guys in Miami. And then they bought another ticket to came, and they came like the last day of the conference. And we got them tickets, or I don't remember. And but it was super fun. And no, and then for every conference I've been with someone of my family. Last year I was in Amsterdam 2023 and in Lugano Plan B, and I was there with my mother and my sister. And this time
Oh,
for Madeira, actually everyone came because we made like a family trip, wanted to know the island. And yeah, some
wow.
yeah, I'm very, very supported.
That's amazing. And your whole family are coming up to Calgary as well, right?
No, well, because they cannot take that many vacation holidays from their jobs. So my dad and my mother wanted to come, so we are going, the three of us together. Yeah, I don't know, I really feel very blessed of them coming with me and getting to show them what I'm doing, and feeling their support. is super important for me. And yeah, I don't have a feeling like I should be doing this by myself. It's like on contrary, like I'm very grateful for what I have and not being alone in this journey, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I love it. It's like a whole orange pilled family. It's a family and it's super sweet. I love it. Is your dog orange pilled?
Yes.
Of course. Listens to Bitcoin podcasts every day
I
on the
have
walks.
an orange field cat there that was
Oh, you have a little cat too. What's the cat's name?
what?
What's
It
the
broke it
cat's
broke off
name?
a bit. Ah, she's called Lila.
Leela. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, so cute. Wow. So I'm curious as well, just to get your thoughts about the Bitcoin ecosystem in general, then, because you've been in it for a while, but you've got a very interesting perspective of Latin America, and what the ecosystem is like in Chile. But you've also traveled a lot, so you've met Bitcoiners from all over the world. Could you sort of compare and contrast like what LATAM is like compared to, say, I don't know, if you go to the
Mm,
US or wherever, like what's the level of understanding of Bitcoin, of interest? Like how do you see the
yeah.
similarities and differences?
Well, first, I see that Chile has a very special or different ecosystem than Latam in general. And I think this is my own theory. I don't know if this, but yeah, my theory is that we have a like really low adoption here because of two things. First one was that I don't remember how many years ago, but a while now, uh, all the banks got together and they closed all the exchanges accounts from one day to another, unnoticed, of course. And then all exchanges had to meet and started working together to make a lawsuit, yeah, to
Lawsuit,
sue
yeah.
them, yeah, um, to well, saying this was illegal, and so
Sorry,
the
this was
judge.
the Bitcoin exchanges.
Mhm.
Oh,
Because
really?
the banks just shut the accounts, like no, you cannot have an account, so they couldn't operate anymore. They couldn't, if you were a client, you couldn't take your money back or you couldn't deposit more, and it was a very huge problem for them. And so the judge said that while this the lawsuit continued, they would they had to open the accounts. So after 1 month, they started operating again. But what this created was a very, very bad publicity. Like people were like, of course, this thing is super sketchy. This is, look, the banks that are the thing that I trust are like closing it. The publicity in the papers was like awful. And also what happened is that no new company could open a business, Bitcoin related business in Chile. Because if the banks were being sued by these guys, if they open something with someone else, it was like super stupid for them. So it closed it like a bubble, like super protected ecosystem. Actually, I think it was good for the people, for the exchanges here, but not good for the ecosystem. And the second thing is that I think Chile had like a very good couple of years economically. We were like doing kind of fine. So people were not looking for an alternative, I think. We were not that good that you would say like, where would I invest my money? Like maybe in Europe or in the States or places like that. But we were not doing that bad that we were like, how do I escape this thing? So we were like the middle class, like when you stay quiet and you just work a lot and hope for the best. So I think these two things combined made it that Chile has not that much adoption when you compare it with other countries in Latin America. For example, Argentina, our next door country, like the adoption there is way, way bigger.
Wow, that's really interesting. And how do you sort of see it versus the US? Because I think one of the kinds of things that people in the Western world complain about is that people in the Western world don't really understand how important Bitcoin is because they don't need to. Um, do you think
Mhm.
that that's the case? Like, how do you sort of see the mindset in the US, for example?
Yeah, well, I think the US is so big that you have a lot of different people, but I do see that kind of uh, financial privilege mindset in a way. Like it's like, why would you like escaping from what? Like if you cannot see the problem, why would you look for an alternative? Like take the travel to learn. Like Bitcoin is not easy in that way. Like you have to first you start like feel losing this fear of just buying it and then watching the volatility. Then you start seeing this, hey, take your Bitcoin out of the exchange and you have to face this idea, okay, I have to get a hardware wallet. You get your hardware wallet and you have to set up programs, and if you have never verified a key or like public keys and stuff like that, since like me, I had never
And
done
then
that
Ledger
thing
puts a back
before.
door in your hardware wallet and you have to change hardware wallet.
Yes, so it's not friendly, you know? So if you don't feel the problem, like why would you take all those steps? So I think people who are doing that, who are like taking the steps, is because they are, it's more of a statement, like you wanna see a better world, but not maybe like not naturally because you need it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So maybe in the US it's more ideological and maybe in Latin America it's more pragmatic.
Yeah, here is like, I need this, like help, I'm drowning. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I mean we talk a lot about inflation in the Western world now and it's nothing compared to like Latin America. And I wonder like when there's really really high inflation and people can't afford to buy food anymore, what actually happens in places like Argentina? Do you know? I mean, do people just start bartering?
Well, black markets, a lot of black
Right.
markets. And they in Argentina, for example, most of the people were like actually living on a dollar standard. So I think that goes naturally. That's why we don't really need legal tender, because humans will tend to instinctively look for the better money. But many people suffer and struggle, and then you have to. Then they start printing more money to cover that up. Like, we'll give you this help, and then it's super hard because you have to tell people, okay, we want to fix this, but in order to fix this, we're not going to give you this help anymore. And how do you get someone to vote for you when you're saying that, and they are suffering? So it's not really easy. Like you're telling them, I know you're suffering, I have to make you suffer more in order to help you to be more stable. And it's a very, very strange promise. Like, you risk a lot, like that person is risking a lot. If you put in his shoes, like he lives for today. So it's really hard.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, that's the crazy thing about Milei. We can think a lot of things about him, like is he going to really shut down the central bank or not, or whatever. But what for me stands out is that he was honest about that. He was like, "You are going to be in pain, but I'm going to fix this. But you have to like stay with me through the pain, and we'll get this fixed." And people voted for him, even though he spoke that. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does. I mean, I was listening to Whitney Webb's podcast this morning with TFTC. She was talking about how, I mean, her view is that he's basically, I don't know if she expressed it this way, but like controlled opposition because he's dollarizing Argentina
Mhm,
and, you know, he's doing a whole bunch of things that basically help the globalists and their various agendas as opposed to helping the Argentinian people. So we'll see. We'll see.
mhm.
I think he's a bit too good to be true, to be honest. You know.
He's a politician. Like, I always think that politicians are very weird human beings. And the moment he stood in that office and he took but he's telling like, no, I come from this other side. I'm not coming from politics. The moment you started that campaign, for me, you're a politician, and I'm going to treat you as I treat every politician. And this goes for everyone. I'm not going to trust any politician. Like, I'm not going to trust Bukele, even though we have a tiny presidente there. Like, of course not. We're going to hold him accountable, because if you want to be in the position to rule a whole country, if you want to tell anyone, like everybody, what we should do or whatever, you have to be amazing at your job. Like I don't expect anything less from you. So yeah, I don't think we should give them any less.
Any breaks? Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, no, you're very right. I mean, Bukele is an interesting one because everybody's so kind of hero worshipping him because El Salvador and Bitcoin legal tender, and I think that's great. Like, don't get me wrong, I think he's done some amazing stuff, but
Mm.
also his security guy died in custody. And the family got handed back the body with the head stitched up and God knows what, and he'd allegedly died of a stroke or something ridiculous like that. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm like, I don't think we should skim over things like that just because, yay, El Salvador Bitcoin legal tender. So I'm a bit kind of don't trust, verify.
Yeah, no, I love what he's done. Like people feel so much better there in El Salvador, and I understand that, and we can celebrate that. That doesn't mean like when I point out, hey, you're doing this wrong, or hey, explain this to me, that doesn't take the credit of the stuff that you have done properly or right or amazingly, I think. And we cannot lose that. And that's something that I feel like happens a lot in X, Twitter. Like if you're pointing something out, you're pointing a good thing, then someone is like, ah, how about the bad one? Yeah, doesn't take it out. Or in the other way, like if I'm pointing out something that I don't like, it doesn't erase the good things. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. No, I agree with you. I mean, I think it's good to people get very anxious about Bitcoin Twitter because it's so adversarial in some ways, but I actually like it. I like the fact that people debate things and
Mhm.
you get held to account. I think that that's very healthy actually, and we don't really see enough of that in broader society. So I think it's a good thing. Can I ask you just to give some of your views then about Bitcoin art in general, just to circle back
Mhm.
to that? Because you're obviously very familiar with the ecosystem and the type of art that's being produced. Can you talk about like what you see Bitcoin art as being, like how you think it differs from art in general, where you think this movement might go?
Yeah, it's kind of a hard question. Like, what defines Bitcoin art? For me, it's actually freedom art, and it's like the statement. Are you trying to teach about Bitcoin? Are you trying to explore what Bitcoin is? Are you trying to like make it glorious, like show this is amazing? It's kind of this is going to sound maybe not that cool, but it's kind of propaganda right now, and I like it
I like your
because
honesty.
yeah, but I don't have a problem with this, and I think it's needed. And what I like about this propaganda is that it's very much decentralized. Everyone is doing their own stuff. I have groups where I talk, and we can collaborate, and we can do. But I don't need your approval to do my own thing, even though we might be doing group stuff or things like that. Um, I'm not asking someone else how to present my view. Um, and I'm not, like we are not censoring some contents or like, no, we shouldn't talk
That's quite
about
funny.
this
It's almost like
because,
an oxymoron, isn't it? It's like decentralized, permissionless propaganda.
yeah, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But many things in Bitcoin like are that weird. So I think that's where it's starting. Um, Also, I'm seeing a shift. Well, me personally, I sometimes like to do weird stuff where I combine my love for technique and like handmade stuff with general ideas. Sometimes you could look at it, maybe you might think like, why is this Bitcoin art? Like, I don't see the connection. And if I start talking, or if you might see it or not. And I like playing with that boundary because I also feel like in the future there won't be Bitcoin art. It's like I think you said in one of the sessions, like there was .com companies, and then every company has a website. I think that's going to happen with Bitcoin. Like we are going to talk about other stuff, and Bitcoin will be there. Bitcoin will be the payment system. Bitcoin will be something that enables something else that we're talking about now. But in this moment, the for me the biggest um, challenge is to talk more about Bitcoin, to get to normies, to get to more people, to at least see if they are interested in it or if they're gonna have fun staying poor. No, I don't know, but no, but like give them the opportunity and reach out. So that's why I think it's at the moment I feel more of it like kind of a propaganda. Uh-huh.
That's so funny how you describe it like that. Um, yeah, it'd be funny actually with future generations, when we're on a Bitcoin standard, to describe to them what this period was like. Because if you haven't grown up with a fiat system, which I'm hoping that kids very soon will not, it's going to seem really strange to look back on it and be like, oh, there was this thing and this is why everything was shit before. you know? Now
Yeah,
here we
I
are, but
think
it would just be really weird
yeah,
to describe, you
we're
know?
we're going to look so stupid. Like we're it's embarrassing. Like kids in the future are going to ask their teachers like, how were they so stupid? Like and that's a funny thing. Like when you look at another period of time and you're not there, you don't get to experience it. And do you like when we think about how is it called, like the mm, medieval
Oh,
era, like
medieval times.
medieval, yeah, medieval times. So we have like the feudalism, and you're thinking like, why did they accept that? That was super, like almost you are like, I don't know. And then, but we weren't there, and you get so judgy when you're not having the problem, and you get to see the picture from far away. But I hope they appreciate that
That we fought for them.
yeah. Yes, it's all about the children.
It's like Greg Foss, isn't it? Hashtag for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's just a weird thing to imagine because I think we've grown up. I mean, I would have spent about half my if we were, to go on to a Bitcoin standard now, I would have spent almost half my life probably on a fiat standard. So it would be weird to look back and think for future generations how different that will be. So very cool, but very strange. And then I guess Bitcoin art, all those things are just going to be relics of a bygone era. People will buy them to be like, this is a piece of art that was made as we transitioned from a fiat standard to a Bitcoin standard. Life was still shit then, but we were in a transition period. That'll be the
Yeah,
movement. It'll be called transitional art.
maybe it's like transitional renaissance.
Yes, yes, definitely. Wow. Well, I feel compelled while we're still on the line together to check the mempool and see how far we are off of the halving. Are you doing any halving art, by the way?
No, I'm not that good into I just do whatever I want, and not even Bitcoin code can tell me what to do, I guess.
Yeah. But mind you, well, you should do some halving art. I think that would be cool. Something just to commemorate what the halving means, I think.
Yeah.
Represent it. Yeah.
No,
Sorry, I'm
I
just
could, but it didn't come to my mind, so I try to be very intuitive about that. So I just do whatever I feel. That's why I'm actually very, very bad with commissions. Um, I don't
good to
really
know.
like them. Yeah, no, it's really hard for me. Like very, how do
Oh
you
my
say,
God.
like mhm.
It's
Are you
11
are you
blocks. There were 21 blocks, I think, when we started talking, I want to say. It's 11 blocks now. It's definitely happening today.
they're mining super fast, or no?
Yeah, some asshole's busy. I just stop hashing.
Difficulty adjustment, we need you now.
Yeah. Yeah, gosh. Oh, 10 blocks now. It just went down. We're just down to 10. Oh, there we go. We're at block 839990 is the next one. Wow. Okay. Well, on that note, Libby, hashtag flow. Um, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person very much. It's going to be super fun. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this as well, this chat. And thank you for just producing this amazing inspirational art. You're so, so talented. And we're so lucky to have you in the Bitcoin community doing what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and also thank you so much for all the work you do. I really love Access Tribe and all the effort you're making. And yeah, it's also very enriching, like the ecosystem, and yeah, thank you.